We just had another highly volatile day. Bitcoin went up to 40,000 and then came back down to touch 45. That was a lot. $3,000 movement in just that hourly candle. What the hell was really happening? Now, if you say we do have a lot of news, the narratives, it's for sure that was one of the biggest factor there. But if you do look at least a 4 hour chart towards a daily chart, now you kind of have the idea of what's happening and what is most likely to happen just after this. This gives you an advantage in the market. And when I say this, I say with all honesty. SI family had this called out before it happened. We were like, okay, what's actually happening? Before 5 hours before this actually happened, I actually told this. There's going to be a flush where market should actually remove a lot of people from the market who FOMO'd in without buying at 43 levels. They bought in after the breakout. Now the market is trying to remove them, kick them out, and just that happened in like few hours. So that's an advantage of being in the SI family. 930 plus members are taking benefit of that. But what can you actually look at this and say for the altcoins or for what comes next? What do you actually think is going to happen just based on the charts? Welcome to the Scientific Investor family, where the normal retail guys get learn how to become the next top 10% of this world. Right now, I would like to really highlight the fact that, guys, watch this. In the SI family, we're going through all of this and we saw this coming, right? It was not easy, was not that easy, but we saw this coming. We had the call. Now, what next is a biggest question which we are trying to answer here. But before that, I would like to, thank all of you guys who are smashing that like button. We came really, really close to 500 likes with 3,300 views. That's comparatively a lot, and I'm really, really, really thankful for each and every one of you who is smashing that like button. So if you have a moment, pop that. Now, let's look at the market actually. What are we really doing? This is our biggest question which all of us will have. Right now, the market is volatile and you still see some of these coins starting to bounce back up. So you really want to look at them and see, okay, what really is happening, right? So you can take different approach in the market. You can look at big coins and then try to look at what the small coins are doing, or you can look at each different segments. But right now, when you're on a 3-day chart or a weekly chart, a higher time frame structure, all that you're watching is that all that you need. Meaning, last time when you actually came up like this and dropped, yes, for sure, the price did drop. There was a panic selling, even a 50% drop. That's not a small thing, but on the macro picture, it is a small thing. It was just a bump in the road. What if we are doing something similar here? See, that's the positive outlook. You go higher like this and you create an extreme bounce. Who knows where it's going to go? It's going to go nuts, maybe. But the idea here gives you that unless you actually get a negative divergence, you're still in, right? If you actually get to see this, that's where you're getting out. Now, who knows where it's going to go? But in the SI family, I'll actually plot what my targets are based on the Elliott wave analysis, Wyckoff, all those which we actually do. I'll plot them. But understand this. This was your accumulation range. You had the Wyckoff Creek formation. You broke that to the upside. You started your markup phase and now you're going higher. Your previous resistance is now starting to break. This one was that level which we broke. Now we did the retest of this level. That's cool. Now we're going to break through the upside. So that's just one asset in the first 100. So you can actually go through. Now this is what we actually do in the SI family, going through each and every asset. So you know what's coming for most of these assets, which has a lot of upside. Now, In general terms, say if you are looking at an asset like XRP, then the question becomes like, okay, this is not actually moving. It's going down against Ether. It's going down against Bitcoin. What really is happening here? We're not actually seeing any movements, but we still following the chart patterns, the price structure. Again, I would really like to highlight or reiterate this. Money started entering into XRP after you saw Bitcoin and others reaching a top. That's extremely important to note, because I see some people in the comment section are so irritated because I talk a lot of Bitcoin. Remember, last 12 months, 13 months, if we had extreme success in all our calls, that's only because we focus on Bitcoin and look at if that matches with the movement showed in the altcoins. Because sometimes what happens is that the altcoin will show, I'm going to go up. And Bitcoin is like, no, I'm going to pee in my pants. Boom. Everything drops. That's not something you want. So that's one of the reasons why we are looking at this. Okay, if Bitcoin is about to do some bounce from here and some altcoins are showing I'm going to burst, okay, most likely that's going to happen. That's why I'm looking at this. One. Two, what's the history? If one asset has not moved while Bitcoin was running up close to the top, then this time also most likely it's going to do the same. And when Bitcoin reaches the top, say 70 or 90, wherever it is, and we start doing that distribution phase, money is moving out. That's where you look at where the money is entering into. You really want to look at all those large cap assets. It's up to you which segment you are looking at, whether you are heavy on payments, whether you are heavy in smart contracts, it's up to you. But when you do look at all of this, you really have to ask a question. Okay, smart contracts, Cardano or VAX, you're actually looking through them. What the hell are they showing you? This is important. Honestly, if it's me, I would double down on that thought process. Then at that point, you can ask like, okay, what do you really mean? And I'm like, okay, for me, if that asset has broken higher from the accumulation zone to the upside, that's a huge sign. Again, we've reiterated that many times because I don't want you guys to get this wrong again. Once you see this has been completed, now this is what you want. This is where you double down. That goes up, boom. This is where you double down. If it's me, I'm looking at this position just like what has happened in the history. This is exactly what's happening here. You're going to actually see this rise to the upside and the price pop. Now, how high, targets, why, all of those will be updated in the Patreon as we go up. But you do have to think about this. People panic when there is a 30-40% drop. But historically speaking, you get huge opportunities when the market does these kind of stuff. Think about that for a moment. If that's you, now you're watching that there is a lot of opportunity coming. But make sure you're not buying way before the biggest support comes in. So if you are a conservative guy, you are literally looking for somewhat like this range to act as a support. If you're optimistic, you want to bounce from here. So it depends on what you're looking at in the market, or at least what you can see in terms of a macro trend. For me, I'll double down on this. If you're coming back down to this range, perfect. Boom, I'll go in, right? If you're having little to no exposure in smart contracts, this is what you're looking at. But then if you're like, okay, I'm a fan of the payments industry, you're looking at different payment assets. What do you really want to see in that? Is that the same thing which we just discussed? You have the accumulation range, the price consolidated in there, it went up, retested and bounced. That bounce was not a small move. It was a decent move in the market. When the entire market was slow, this asset managed to do a 200% there and from the bottom like a 350%. In payments industry, where all the other assets were not moving, that was a great move. Now, if it's me, what should I be looking at, right? I'm personally looking at this, putting that argument like, okay, if I can actually see the price coming down here, that would be like an ABC. I would buy here, then this goes nuts. Maybe that's what's going to happen in the market, right? So you take different approaches in the market And if you want to see what I think of a lot of different assets in the market where these opportunities are there now, you can look at the Patreon. The link is given in the description below, where you can follow 930 plus members in the SI family. Now, if you do look at Bitcoin and the Bitcoin dominance, that's where things are getting a little bit interesting. Especially the Ether and ERC20 tokens, they are showing you something. If you do get that right, this time around, you're actually looking at this and putting the perspective of, whoa, that's something you shouldn't miss. What is that? If you actually see this break to the upside is being invalidated, again, invalidated. Now you have something coming up. Whoa, whoa, whoa. If that happens, this is going to be something to look at. This is your trend there. If that comes down here, that's bullish for the altcoin market. If you do break to the downside at that point, it's going to be super, super important for the altcoin market. Now, again, that's a daily chart. You can actually go on a weekly and see what we are doing. And that makes a little bit more sense. It does, at least for me, it does. Why? Getting a wave 2 there is going to give you massive movement to the upside. And then you'll still get the retest for sure. If you actually do this pattern here and drop, get rejected, that's something to look at, the wave 3. But it can actually take some time from July, August 2019, all the way towards this point. It actually took that time. So you're like, okay, if you have that amount of patience to go through, you can completely wait for wave 3. But is it logical? Depending upon how you think and what data you're looking at. But for the SI family, we would be taking a lot of profits in wave 2 for the assets, which are showing us the same signals. Why? Because the market kind of guides you. At least for us, we follow the market. Not just our targets, but modify those targets based on what the market is showing you. I think that is where the real hit rate is. If you see these kind of things and you see that working out, remember, here at this point, I told it's going to go down just in last video, right? And what happened? The price dropped. Just last week, we got that. And we told it's going to go back up from here. It did. It went up to 48,000. What did I say? 47,500. Did I get the absolute top correct? No. But you get the idea. You're looking at the price structure to see what's possible. And if you are doing something one time and you get it right, maybe it's a coincidence, maybe it's a luck. If you are doing that repeatedly again and again, there is something more than luck. That's why I say join the SI family, change your life. Next 2 to 3 months is going to be the decision-making factor. If you are not in the market, think about what you are in. Maybe stocks, maybe real estate, maybe commodities. Think about the ROI structure which you are looking from here. Extremely volatile movements will be there. No doubt. But this is where you create wealth. If you want to go through that one-on-one session, you can again look at this. This time around, make sure you understand how your portfolio is aligned, how many segments you have, the AI, the smart contracts, the gaming, the payments, the infrastructure. Where are you heavy in? When will the money come into that? Are you in all of these? Are you in a segment where the upside is almost completed? So these questions are something you need to be answering yourself, to look at next 6 months and say, okay, I may see this. I may actually do this in my portfolio. So guys, with that said, if you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do smash that for me. And anyone and everyone who has smashed that like button before, I'm really, really thankful for, guys. So that's it for today, guys. I'll meet you on the next video. Bye for now.